at this street. Every house is tall, every house is narrow, and almost every house is leaning forward or sideways or both. This isn't an accident. This isn't poor construction. Every single one of these design choices was deliberate, and most of them come down to one thing: money. This is the story of how Amsterdam's obsession with taxes created one of the most distinctive skylines in the world. But to understand Amsterdam's architecture, you first need to understand Amsterdam's problem. This city should not exist. It sits below sea level. It was built on a swamp. The ground is so unstable that even today, buildings sink, tilt, and shift. Every structure you see here is an act of defiance against nature. And yet, Amsterdam became the wealthiest city in the world. Amsterdam sits on millions of wooden piles driven deep into the mud. The Royal Palace alone stands on 13,659 wooden stakes. The entire city is, quite literally, floating. This meant building was expensive, complicated, and risky from the very beginning. Space was precious. Every square meter counted. And then the Dutch government made it worse. In the 17th century, Amsterdam was one of the wealthiest cities in the world. The Dutch Golden Age had made merchants extraordinarily rich, and the government wanted its share. So they introduced a tax based on the width of your house. The wider your canal frontage, the more tax you paid. It was that simple. The result, merchants did what wealthy people have always done. They found a loophole. Build narrow, build deep, build tall. Some houses are only 2.5 meters wide, barely wider than a door, but they stretch back 20, 30, even 40 meters, and they rise 5 or 6 stories into the sky. You paid tax on the front, nobody taxed the back. Consider the merchant Jan Kooijmans, one of Amsterdam's wealthiest traders in the 1600s. His house on the Herengracht was just 6 meters wide, but it stretched back nearly 30 meters and rose 4 stories high. From the outside, modest. From the inside, a palace. This was the game every Amsterdam merchant played. Show less on the street, hide more behind the facade. In a city built on trade, even your house was a negotiation. But why are they leaning? 2 reasons, and both are typically Dutch in their practicality. First, the wooden piles underneath began to rot and shift over centuries, causing many buildings to slowly tilt. But second, and this is the clever part, many houses were built leaning forward deliberately because the staircases inside were impossibly narrow. You couldn't move furniture up them. You couldn't move anything large at all. So Amsterdam's architects added a solution, a beam with a hook at the top of every building. Merchants used ropes and pulleys to hoist furniture, goods, and cargo straight up through the windows. But for that pulley system to work without scraping the facade, the building needed to lean slightly outward. Every crooked house in Amsterdam is a purpose-built crane. The 17th century was Amsterdam's golden age. The city controlled global trade routes, spices from Indonesia, textiles from India, silver from the Americas. At its peak, Amsterdam was home to the world's first stock exchange, the world's first multinational corporation, and one of the most sophisticated urban planning systems ever created. The Canal Ring, those 3 famous concentric canals, wasn't random. It was a masterpiece of urban engineering designed to maximize trade, manage water, and house the growing merchant class. At its peak in the 1630s, Amsterdam's port handled half of all global maritime trade. Half, in a city of just 200,000 people. The Dutch East India Company, the VOC, was the world's first publicly traded company. Investors could buy shares that paid dividends. In 1637, a single tulip bulb sold for the price of a house on the canal. Amsterdam wasn't just rich, it was inventing the modern economy while building narrow houses to avoid paying taxes on it. All of it was built narrow, tall, and tilting forward. Today, Amsterdam's canal belt is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. What started as tax avoidance became architecture. What started as practicality became beauty. The narrowest house in Amsterdam is 2.02 meters wide. It still stands. Someone still lives there. And if you look closely at the roof lines, you'll still see the hooks. Not decorative, still functional, still used. Amsterdam didn't just build a city, it engineered a solution to every problem it faced and made it beautiful in the process.